Hey folks, welcome to the 20th episode of the Knock and Talk Show. I, of course, am your host, Patrick Faulkner, and today's guest is James McNeil, a US Army veteran turned life coach, and we're going to be discussing Army terminology, basic training fire drills, and how sometimes volunteering is a good thing. Want to know more? Stay tuned. We'll be back right after this. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 20th episode of the Knock and Talk Show. I am your host, Patrick Faulkner, and today we have guest James McNeil with us, Army veteran, two-time author, and he's got a coaching program coming up. You can see there in the background. So, James, brother, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. I do appreciate being here as the 20th guest. Save the best for 20th, I guess is what they say.
Yeah, that's right. That's the running. Yeah, absolutely. The best for 20th.
Yeah, that's it. As you said, I am a coach. I am the designer and lead trainer for the Authentically You 4-week coaching program. We'll talk more about that after we have our other discussions. But
All right.
Authentically You, how to become truly and authentically you.
Awesome. So, two-time author.
Yes, sir.
That's pretty cool. Self-published?
Both times, yes, sir.
Nice. All right. We've had a couple of authors on the show in the past, but I want to hear about some Army time because you are a U.S. Army veteran.
Yeah, I am.
When did you serve?
I joined in 1999. I joined in January of 99, and I was medically discharged in May of 05.
Okay. And what was your job in the Army?
I started off as an aircraft electrician. It was a 68 Foxtrot. In 02, that job was phased out, and it was merged with 68 November, which was avionics. So basically, avionics did everything.
Okay. What aircraft?
Everything but the Apache.
Everything but the Apache. Okay. All right. I was an avionics guy on the F-16.
Nice.
Yeah.
We worked a little bit on the avionics, but the Novembers did most of the avionics work.
Okay.
And then, like I said, in 02, those two jobs were merged. And I was in flight ops at that point, aviation operations.
Okay. All right. And where were you stationed?
I was stationed at Fort Campbell, Kentucky, a.k.a. hell.
Okay. All right. So it was a good time there.
It was a fantastic time there. I loved my time in hell.
Oh.
Not everybody used to say that.
No. In fact, I don't know anybody who has openly admitted to that.
Of course, see, openly admitting is a little bit of a stretch there because the sarcasm was dripping off of them.
Yes. Yeah, I picked that up. I did pick that up. So tell me, what made you make the decision to go into the Army?
When I was in high school, I thought about joining the military. I took the ASVAB when I was a junior in high school, and from the day I took that test, which we took it using, you know how they do the Scantrons with the bubbles?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's how we did it when I was in high school, because I'm old as dirt. So when I did it, we did the Scantron type thing, and within a week, I was getting calls from literally all 4 branches. Hey, and I thought it was because I had indicated an interest in joining the military, And my dad said, well, what was your score? And I finally found out it was like 91, 92.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So um, all four branches calling nonstop. And I was like, no, I think I'm gonna go out into the civilian world and do some work. And then in '98, I got tired of working in factories. I was like, this sucks. I want something that I can at least grow with. So I joined the Army.
Okay. So you were a little late. You weren't 18 or 19 joining. You
I
were.
was 26. I was the
Oh,
same age
wow.
as one of my drill sergeants.
Wow. So was your nickname like Grandpa or Pops or
No,
Gramp?
that was the 30-year-old.
Oh, wow. So there was somebody older than you.
There was a
Okay.
30-year-old in the platoon, and he was a firefighter. So when we did our CS training, he didn't care.
Oh, no, I guess not. I guess not. Um, my son is currently in AIT, and he's 24. And I told him he would probably be nicknamed Pops or Gramps as a 24-year-old, and he also had somebody in their 30s. So that was their nickname and not his. So
He dodged a bullet on that one.
yeah, yeah. So
Um,
you've also got some family members that were in the military.
my father was in the Air Force. Okay, not the military, but still.
Oh, come on.
My grandfather was in Wales Marauders in World War II.
I saw that on the sheet, and I'm ashamed to say I don't know what that is.
Merrill's Marauders was the forerunner to the Rangers.
Hmm.
They
Okay.
were some badass people.
Okay. All right. So that was Army then.
Yes,
Okay. All right. So what did your dad think about you joining the Army instead of the Air Force?
he said they they went down for my swearing in before I left to go to basic, and my father said that he's actually glad I joined the Army over the Air Force just because he didn't like the Air Force.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right.
Granted, he was in the Air Force in Vietnam,
Hmm.
so the military itself overall sucked at that point.
Yeah, I would say so. I would say.
But if I had known then what I know now, I would have joined the Air Force. As much crap as I give them,
Yeah.
honestly, mutual friends that we have, Sean, Robert in the Air Force, and the training that they've received and the education they've received and the opportunities they've had to use this to get ahead instead of having to build up your muscles. I mean, shoot, in the Army, if you do a 300 PT score, you can be dumb as a box of rocks and you're going to get promoted.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I tell all of my friends that use the chair force or the postal service jokes. I just remind them while they were in uh, fighting holes or foxholes, whatever you guys want to call them these days, and eating MREs. I was in a 4-star hotel, getting room service and the same hazardous duty pay. So, uh, yeah, yes, and bless you too, sir.
um, I have a coworker who is an Air Force veteran,
Okay.
and then there's a customer who comes in who's a Marine veteran, and we were talking about the shark attack that we get in basic training. And I know people that are not military have no idea what a shark attack is. Uh, when we were going to basic training, we had like 180 trainees on the back of buses in huge air quotes there. It was cattle trucks.
What? Cattle trucks.
I wish I was making that part up.
Holy smokes. Okay.
When we were in formation to get on the cattle trucks. Of course, they called them buses because it's the Army and they don't know what they're talking about. The first sergeant of the reception was like, "This is what you need to do. You've got your duffel bag, you've got your laundry bag, and you've got your rucksack. You keep those with you at all times. Do not put them in the back of the bus. It's not going to work out for you. So I put my rucksack on my back. I held my duffel bag in one hand, my laundry bag in the other, and I was good.
Yeah.
We get there, and I look out. Now, in a basic training unit, every platoon has 3 drill sergeants.
Okay.
Every company has 4 platoons.
Okay.
Every battalion has 5 companies.
Okay.
Every drill sergeant in the battalion was there to meet us.
You're in the Army now, son.
Yeah, bend over. Anyway, boot incoming. At least it's not the Navy. Bend over is something else incoming, but that's another story.
It is another story. Soap.
But there's a drill sergeant. Drill Sergeant Young was his name. He stepped up on the bus and said, "Good morning, everyone. My name is Drill Sergeant Young," and he's just like real calm. And we're going to go over what you're going to learn the next 9 weeks. And he gives you drill and ceremony, Army history, all these other things, and we're going to work to make you the best that you can be.
So motivating.
Now, get the fuck off my bus! Move! At that point, another drill sergeant opened the back of the truck and starts chucking out the stuff that people put back there because people didn't listen. Somebody tries to get out through that back door. He puts his hand up on their chest and shoves them back up into the truck. Keeps chucking stuff out. I still got my stuff. I didn't sit it down. I stepped out of the truck. A drill sergeant gets literally the tip of his brown round, touches my forehead. "Private, what is your first general order?" And I was thanking God that my recruiter hammered that into my head. He was like, "You're not leaving until you know these."
Okay, smart.
So I gave my first general order, which is, "I will guard everything within the limits of my post and quit my post only in popular relief." Then I ended up with, "Drill Sergeant." He smiled. He's like, "Good." Starts speed walking away. Keep up with me. And we had people that were every few steps, drop, 300 push-ups before they got there. 300, 400 push-ups. So I'm telling that story, and then the night shift guy who was Air Force comes up and goes, "Man, we didn't get anything like that." And I said, "I forgot that you were in the Air Force. I forgot you were military." And the Marine goes, No. He said Air Force. He didn't say military." I was like, "Oh, man."
Oh, bring it on. Bring it on. So my son tells me that, now they don't wear BDUs. I don't know if they're ACUs now or they've got some other acronym they're using, but they've got the brown desert boots. There's no ironing of the uniform unless it's their dress. There's no polishing of the boots, and I'm like, geez, I don't want to hear it about the Air Force. Seems like my Air Force was a little more difficult than your current Army,
right?
Of the 90s. And what's that saying? I mean, that's kind of sad, But whatever.
I did learn a very valuable lesson. As a matter of fact, I am also a former Toastmaster. We can talk about that later. I'm a former Toastmaster.
Let me get my pen here. Toastmaster,
yes. And I use this as a contest speech in Toastmasters.
Okay.
Now, the Army's or the military's usual uniform for sleep is the summer PTs and socks with your shoes under your bed. That's what we had. It was February. It was 15 degrees, and we had a fire drill.
Of course.
So,
yes,
I was able to jump up, slide my shoes on, and run. Got downstairs, Drill sergeant's downstairs. He goes, across the road, across the road. So we go across the road. It's 15 degrees. I'm in summer PTs. Screw this. I hated this. But I figured if I can just think of somewhere warm. So in my mind, I went back to a stream I used to fish when it was like 80, 90 degrees. So I'm like, I'm by the stream, it's 90 degrees, I'm good. And I'm standing at attention because they had us fall into attention over there. So I'm standing at attention, I'm good. It's warm, I'm good. And I'm just staring straight ahead. Now, sometimes you can see out of the corner of your eye.
Mm-hmm.
I see the drill sergeant looking at me. Now, the only thing I can think is, at the position of attention, you do not move.
Correct, sir.
So sun is warm, I'm good, I'm fishing, I'm not cold. And he's just staring at me. He's not saying anything. And it felt like an eternity, but it might have been like 5-10 minutes at the most. He's like, all right, fall out. So I kind of relaxed a little bit, starts jogging toward the barracks. Private! And you know that feeling when someone's yelling and you just know they're yelling at you. So you stop it and you look over your shoulder like, maybe this isn't they're yelling at me. I look over my shoulder. Shit, he's yelling at me. So I went over to him, position at parade rest. Yes, drill sergeant. Aren't you cold, Private? At this point, I'm no longer in that headspace. I'm feeling the cold. I'm like, freezing, drill sergeant. But you weren't shivering. Too scared to, drill sergeant.
Too scared to.
I was so worried. See, I thought shivering would be moving, and I didn't want to shiver.
Okay.
So that's why I was doing all of that. He starts laughing. He's laughing, loud, boisterous, scary from a drill sergeant to see that. Yeah. Boy, I ain't gonna make you do push-ups for shivering. I didn't know that, drill sergeant.
I didn't know that.
Get your ass back inside and warm up. So I start running back toward the barracks, and I heard the drill sergeant yell out to one of his fellow drill sergeants, "Hey, drill sergeant, you ain't gonna believe what this dumbass just did." Now, I had to edit that for Toastmasters because, content.
Yes.
But that's literally what happened was I willed myself to not shiver because I thought I'd be in trouble for shivering.
It's amazing what the human body can do under the right circumstances.
That is correct.
It is amazing what we can endure.
I've tried using it to grow hair. It just doesn't work.
I will it to grow. I will it to grow.
Look up in the mirror. Well, it grew somewhere.
You could do the Beavis and Butthead. Shave the beard. The opposite of Beavis and Butthead. Shave the beard and put it on your head. Because I don't know if you watched them in the 90s, but they shaved their head and super glued it to and they had these patches.
I have never seen Beavis and Butthead, and all of a sudden I'm glad that I've never seen Beavis and Butthead.
That was a staple of the 90s. All right, so fast forward to AIT.
Okay.
Where was AIT?
Fort Eustis, Virginia.
Okay. And how are things there in comparison to basic?
Candyland.
Candyland?
Candyland. We had one drill sergeant that was a little scary. Drill Sergeant Moen. As a matter of fact, when I got to my unit at Fort Campbell, he followed me about 6 months later to the hangar next door, and he was a first sergeant at that point. But Drill Sergeant Moen was a bit scary. Other than that, it was Candyland.
Okay. And then any interesting, funny stories take place there at AIT that you care to share?
It was Saturday morning. We were on lockdown. The whole company was on lockdown. Nobody going to break, and I hadn't been there very long anyway. you had to earn your, I think it's the first 4 weeks of AIT, you didn't get break. You didn't get a weekend pass.
Okay.
And it was my third weekend. So I don't know if the whole company was there, but I know there was enough people there that it seemed like the whole company. And Drill Sergeant Moen comes walking out of the company. We're standing in the front of the company building in formation, and we're waiting. And he comes walking out, and he is pissed. And we're just like, oh, hell, we're going to pay for something. He comes walking up to the front of the formation, and he's like, all right, Alpha Company, I need a volunteer. Now, you know, you become statue man.
Yep.
Are you telling me I'm not going to get a volunteer? Do I have to volunteer someone? And I'm like, at this point,
oh, James.
He's telling me, he's telling the company, if he doesn't get a volunteer, he's going to volunteer everybody, and everybody's going to be miserable. And I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'll take one for the team.
All right.
I volunteer, Drill Sergeant. I hear snickers all around me. Ha ha, idiot, moron. Fuck this guy. All right, I have a volunteer. Come on up here. So I broke ranks, ran around the formation, got up to the drill sergeant. What's your name, Private? Thank God he didn't know me yet. It didn't take him long. I went through basic training, and the drill sergeants didn't even know my name, which is freaking amazing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. My to break your story, my grandfather was in the Army Air Corps. My uncle was in the Air Force. My dad was in the Army National Guard, and they all got together before I shipped off to basic training and said, the word of the day every day is blend. Just blend. Don't raise your hand. Don't volunteer. Don't speak unless spoken to. Don't let them know your name. And
yeah, that was my mistake doing that. But I mean, even with that, it was still Candyland.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So back to your story. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, it's all good. He said, do you know what you volunteered for? I don't know. I don't know, Drill Sergeant. So why'd you volunteer, Private? I didn't want the whole company to get in trouble. I like that. It is now Saturday morning, 08:30. I'll see you Sunday at recon.
Oh. Okay.
He said, you just volunteered to go on pass.
Nice.
I was not a popular person.
Well, I mean, everybody else had that same opportunity, right? I mean, I'm sure everybody was thinking, okay, what toilet bowl needs to be clean? What rock are we having to wash? What grass are we having to paint?
At Fort Eustis, especially in first the Triple Deuce, it was raking the dirt.
Ah, yes. Combing the desert.
Yes. And of course, now I'm getting Spaceballs flashbacks. We ain't seen shit.
Yeah. One of my 2 trips over to the desert, we actually had to sweep the desert off the flight line, Yeah, just in time for a dirt devil to come blow it all right back before takeoffs, which is always fun.
But,
so did you enjoy your weekend pass?
I went back to bed. First thing, I went back to bed until I was kicked out of bed. He's like, yeah, you're on pass, but we're still going to inspect these. So, no. Okay. So I ended up, it was a pretty lax, pretty easy weekend.
All right. And then going on to your duty station.
Fort Campbell, Kentucky. Yes. Not a lot of stories to tell from there. The biggest one was actually not from there. I was stationed there, but I was at JRTC, which is in Fort Polk. Okay. And I got to meet, at the time, Major General Richard Cody. He was the commanding general. I was on gate guard duty, and the general's Humvee pulls up. And the general comes walking up. I salute, which is the present arms with the rifle. He salutes back, and he's like, What's your name? Specialist McNeil, sir. Well, no shit. And if you've ever heard General Cody speak, you can hear him saying this. Well, no shit. I look on your collar. I see specialist. That tells you how old I am back when the rank was still on the collar.
Okay.
I look on your collar. I see specialist. I look on your name tape. I see McNeil. What's your name, son? James. Hi, I'm Dick. And he shakes my hand. He doesn't salute me. He shakes my hand.
Wow.
And he gives me a 2-star challenge coin.
No, get out the front door. Wow.
And then he goes on and asks, what do you do for a living? Or, what's your MOS? Told him I was an aircraft electrician. He's like, hey, I'm a pilot, which he was. He was an Apache pilot.
Okay.
A little known fact, in the first Gulf War, he was the one who fired the first shot. It was a Hellfire from the Apache. And it was his Apache, and he was the pilot.
Okay. Wow.
But the story has a stranger ending because that was in February of 2001. You go to October, November timeframe of 2001. We were on lockdown on the base. It was easily 30 minutes to get on and off base if you were lucky.
Okay.
So going home for lunch is just not an option. So I went to the little shopette not too far from where I worked. Grabbed me a little bit of bite to eat. I'm walking out. I'm adjusting my beret, which I still to this day freaking hate those berets. And I see General Cody walking up from the side. Now, this is Fort Campbell. The greeting of the day at Fort Campbell is always air assault. Always.
Right.
I see him walking up. I snap a salute. Air assault, sir. How you doing, James?
So 6-ish months later, he remembers your first name.
Almost 10 months later.
Wow. Wow.
He earned my respect right there.
Okay.
The details like that for a leader to remember.
Yeah. And all the people he has seen, talked to, new people that he's met in that time frame, and to remember James from the front gate in February. That's pretty impressive. That's really impressive. I don't know that I'd remember.
Names are my weakness. I'm like, I know you. I know you.
Where do I know you from? I know you from...
I'm your mother. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I can put a face and a location and a time frame. Like, all right, I remember you from,
the hospital
base or whatever. Yeah, the hospital. But to remember the first name of that person that I met one time in a brief encounter, not going to happen.
That is impressive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So while there in Kentucky, is that where you established your love for whiskey and bourbon? I have that here.
Actually, it was on a plane coming back from Iraq. We were in the plane left from Kuwait. It stopped in Germany, no big deal. It stopped in Ireland, and there was a duty-free shop that we had access to. And the guys were like, sir, our flight commander was a colonel. He was a doctor. Sir, is it all right if we get some stuff from the duty-free shop? He said, just don't show back up to Fort Campbell drunk. Don't be drinking so much on the flight. You get drunk by the time you get there, because that's my ass.
Okay.
I was broke. I had no money, so I didn't get anything. I took the time to call my parents, collect, let them know I'm on the way home. Mm-hmm. I'm still safe. Everything's good. We landed in Canada, and then we took back off from there. And as we're going over the Canadian border, the flight commander comes on the radio and says, attention, everyone, just want to let you know, we got the son of a bitch. Drink him if you got him. And that was how they let us know they'd captured Saddam.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And the guy beside me goes, "Do you want a shot?" Now, I had had whiskey and I had bourbon up to this point, but I never really had developed much of a love for it. It was just like, if it's one of those things I'm drinking, I'll drink it, but didn't really love it that much. I said, sure. And he poured me a double shot of Glenmorangie.
Mm.
And to this day, Glenmorangie is my favorite whiskey.
Okay. All right. Uh, I mean, that's
As
a.
an, as an Uber driver, I had a gentleman who was Irish, and we talked about Irish whiskeys, and Glenmorangie is an Irish whiskey. And I was like, I got this really awesome story I'd like to tell you. And I told him that story, and his eyes just got huge. He's like, please tell me you're serious. I said, I am 100% serious. He said, my family makes Glenmorangie.
Oh, okay.
He's like, I'm going to go home. I'm going to tell my family this story. This is amazing.
Wow. Look at you, James, touching lives, making the world a better place
With whiskey, yes.
with whiskey. I mean, and what better way? What better way?
There's no better way than with whiskey to make the world
Oh.
a better place.
So, my wife and I took a trip to Ireland several years ago, back when the world was allowed to travel, and we were on a bus tour of the island, and we had this really awesome tour guide, and he explained why Irish whiskey is not as world renowned as Scotch, which is Scottish whiskey. And that was because the Irish have not been friends with England for a few years, going back.
A year or two, yeah.
Yeah, a few years. And the Scots actually, during one of the raids way back when, stole a recipe of Irish whiskey, took it back, made their own little changes to it, and then when England acquired Scotland, they started distributing Scotch whiskey with their empire. So it would go wherever there was English troops as part of their British trade, and Irish whiskey never left the island. So the world was introduced to Scottish whiskey, which is really Irish whiskey with, I think, a little more peat to it. Um, but that's why legend has it. That's why Scottish whiskey is more prevalent than Irish whiskey. I love Irish whiskey. I hate Scotch. I just
I like it all.
I I don't know what it is. I can't. Johnny Walker is probably the nastiest thing, and I've had all the different labels, the double black, the blue, whatever, and it all tastes the same, piss water. Um, and I'm not afraid because Johnny Walker would never be a sponsor, so I'm all right with that.
It's like, yeah, it's not. I'm not going to worry about him being a sponsor. It's all good.
Yeah, no, he can keep walking. He can just keep on walking.
I went to. I was able to go to Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, last year,
Okay.
and there is a place in Pigeon Forge that I'm trying to think of the name. I told you names are hard for me.
Dolly World.
Junction 38 Distillery, I think is the name of it. Junction something Distillery.
Okay.
And literally they make all of their own alcohol. All their own spirits are made on site there. Bourbon, Scotch, the Irish whiskey type is made there, rum, vodka, everything is made right there.
Okay. Interesting. I used to live in Knoxville. We'd go to Pigeon Forge all the time. It's a little haul from the Atlanta area, but that might be worth a side trip because eventually one day I'd like to do the Bourbon Trail and spend some time there in Kentucky on the Bourbon Trail. That might be a nice little pit stop. We did stop when my son turned 21. We did a whirlwind tour of the East Coast. So we left from Atlanta, went up to Charlotte. From there, we went into Virginia, and then we did a couple days in D.C., and then we came back down a different direction through Virginia and stopped off at Silverback Distillery. That is
Okay.
I can't remember the town that's in, but Silverback is a pretty incredible bourbon whiskey
Okay.
and gin. My wife enjoys gin, and they had a pretty good gin according to her. I can't do the juniper in gin. Um, but anyway, Pigeon Forge might be a good little stopping point on the way up to Kentucky.
Pigeon Forge, and now you said Dollywood. Everyone goes to Pigeon. Almost everyone that goes to Pigeon Forge wants to go to Dollywood.
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, we did it when I was a kid, and it's a couple of rides. There's a log flume, so if you go in the summertime, you can get cooled off with the log flume, and then you get to see Dolly's house, which was about the size of a one car garage. Uh,
Yep.
which she lived in was quite small at the time. I don't think lefty and righty would fit inside there, much less any the rest of her. I don't know. Anyway, we can move on.
I was not ready for that. I was not ready for that.
Oh well, you know.
If you'd have said the twins, it would have been a little bit more straightforward. But I was not ready for that.
Yeah, well, you know, I was trying to hide it a little bit with lefty and righty, but we all
Didn't
know.
work.
No, we all know the Tetons. Um,
The mountains.
the song I think she did a song with Kenny Rogers.
Islands in the Stream.
Yeah. It was written about her laying in a bathtub.
You're a dick.
Sorry, I didn't mean to wait till you were, you know. Anyway, so how many tours in the desert?
Just one.
Just one. Okay.
Just one. I was, like I said, I was medically discharged in '05. And I was actually going to sign my paperwork to go on permissive TDY. With a medical discharge, you don't get your leave. They basically pay you back for your leave, and then you just go permissive TDY. And I was going to sign my paperwork for that. The colonel, the battalion commander, saw me, and he's like, "McNeil." Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Come to my office. Oh, fuck. Okay, yes, sir.
All right, what'd I do?
So I go into his office, and he hands me what's known as a fragment.
A what?
Fragment of an order.
Okay.
He said, "Do you know how to read these?" I said, "Yes, sir." And he hands me the paper. He says, "Read this." So I start reading through it. I'm like, "Oh, okay." So we went back to Iraq. Okay, this is lovely. He says, "You just slid in into the under the stop loss." I say, "No, I didn't, sir." He's like, "You didn't?" "I didn't slide in under any stop loss. This is a medical discharge. It would take an act of Congress to reverse that." Handed it back to him. "Have a good day, sir." I said, do you need me for anything else?" He's like, Go sign out."
No.
And I'm on my way to sign out, and he's like, "McNeil, you're a dick. You know that." "Yes, I do, sir."
Yep, I'll wear that badge all the way out.
Mm-hmm. I was, granted, there's times I miss it. There are times I miss the camaraderie, especially the stuff we did in basic training. They really pushed us, and they really taught us what it meant to depend on each other. And that it really became the basis for this, but we'll get back to that.
Yeah, we're gonna circle back around.
Yeah, circle back around. Piggyback up. I'm sorry, that's the first sergeant thing. No, we did some badass stuff, but it was the camaraderie that I really missed. But never was I happier than the day I signed that paperwork, and I was like, "See ya."
Yeah. I agree. When I went on terminal leave, I had like 2 months of terminal leave saved up. It was, you know, it was nice, you know. still getting a paycheck, but didn't have to wear the uniform, whatnot, didn't have to be on base, didn't have to do the stupid stuff. But then you start realizing, what am I going to do next? Like, what's next? Now there's this void, right? As you mentioned, the camaraderie, the friendships, the fellowships, even the hardships. It's sort of difficult.
Even the times that life sucks when you're with your family are better than the times that life is good when you're by yourself.
Yeah.
And that is one thing that basic training taught me. I'm a bit of a stubborn learner and I don't always get the lesson. So it took me a little bit to actually figure that out that, yeah, there's times that life did suck. There's times that I hated being in the military. There's times like, man, this shit sucks. But there's also times I miss it. I miss that camaraderie. I miss the feeling of actually having a family that cared.
Yeah. Yeah. You're not just saying you're not fighting for yourself. You're fighting for the guy next to you.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen that video of the gunnery sergeant they were in Marja or outside of Marja, and they're talking about the he was talking about the astronaut, the Marine astronaut.
Nope, didn't see that one.
If you ever get a chance, look up on YouTube the gunnery sergeant's speech. It is riddled with F-bombs. It is riddled with he doesn't care. He hates being recorded. He tells a cameraman to leave. The only way they got away with recording him was because somebody was hiding it. Glenn, names, like I said, names, but yeah, he's like, in that speech, he's like, you're not gonna. God, core, and country doesn't mean anything to you at that point. You're fighting for the Marine to your left, to the Marine to your right, and that's what you need to do. And for us, the soldier to our left, soldier to our right, the airman to our left, the airman to our right. I mean, we pick on other branches, but when the chips are down, we're there for each other, and that's the camaraderie that I miss.
Yeah. I agree with you. It's hard leaving any job, but leaving a family, as you put it, is that much more difficult. When it's just this this sudden stop. I hate this. I hate this. This sucks. I don't want to do this anymore. And then you hit that line, and you stop, and you're not doing it anymore, and you're like, God, geez, I miss those guys. I miss that. It sucked, but I miss it. And
then, of course, you get Marines and Special Forces that are like, make it suck some more.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. If it ain't raining and sucking, then we ain't training. Sort of thing. Yeah.
I'm glad you didn't finish that.
Yeah. Yeah. Moving on up. In fact, here is a good segue for our sponsor. So, folks, we'll be right back after this brief statement from our sponsor. Attention veteran business owners. Do you want an easy way to be certified as a veteran-owned business? Do you want a better way to show it off in the same hard-charging fashion as our old unit patches? Do you want an easier way to be found and get business write-ups, more interviews, social media promotion, and more? avboa.net has your six. Get access to over 20 hard-charging digital badges for web and social media shares that shows you are a certified veteran-owned business. You've earned it. Show it off. Visit avboa.net today and use code KNOCK6, that's KNOCKSIX. Get your digital badge today. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back, and if you are a veteran-owned business and looking to get your very own digital badge, make sure you do check out AvBoa. That's AV Alpha Victor, AvBoa, AVBOA.net, and use the code KNOCK6, KNOCKSIX, to get your digital badge today. All right, James, we're back now. Show plug. a great sponsor, and I believe you are friends with Eric Carbaugh.
I probably am.
Yeah, he's a Marine.
Gotcha.
He's a Marine. He's got a lot of things going. He's building a camper, like a bug out camper. He's doing
Nice.
business around that. It's pretty cool. Um, so let's get to authentically you. What is happening there in the background? Tell me about that.
In the background, well, you know all about this because you made it.
Actually, I did. Yes, the Faulkner Endeavor Group is a graphics design company that I do own and run, and work together with Rob Garcia, the warrior strategist, to put that together for James. But I know about it. These people don't. So tell them about it.
Authentically You is the coaching program that helps you to literally, as it says, become authentically you. Now, what does that mean? I love these what I call put a finger down challenges. So 5 fingers, if I can get my camera centered here, put a finger down if this applies to you.
Okay.
You are your own worst critic. You hesitate to take challenges because you might fail. If you take a chance and something works out, I just got lucky. That's not really me.
Mm.
Now I'm not putting my fingers down because literally all of these apply to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you take a chance and it doesn't work out, well, I guess I'm just not cut out to do this. And last but not least, you take on smaller challenges so you don't feel like you have to stretch yourself and possibly fail. Now, all of those apply to me. If at least 3 of those apply to you, you have dealt with what's called imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is literally you feel like you're a fraud, like you don't belong, and that sooner or later, people around you are going to realize this guy's a fraud. This guy's a fake, doesn't know what he's talking about. Or this girl's a fraud, doesn't know what she's talking about. But you do. There's a reason, especially if you're in a profession like a doctor or lawyer, if you're a salesperson, if you're a manager, you're there for a reason. Mm-hmm. Even though your mind can trick you into doubting yourself. What authentically you does is it helps you to become authentically you and to have that self-confidence. How do we do it? We do a 4-week intensive training course that's built around the psychological tools that you have already. It takes the way your brain is already wired and it uses that to give you the tools to become you and better at being who you are.
Okay. Yeah, I dropped a couple of fingers during that, and we know when I first got started in this podcast, as well as a couple other businesses that I've done, I've always suffered from imposter syndrome, not feeling worthy. Other people do it better. I think that's awesome. How'd you come up with this?
In 2020, I'm still stuck saying last year, but it's 2022. In 2020, I published a book called Finding Your Personal Mission. Finding Your Personal Mission is about my journey as a suicide survivor. I attempted suicide once in 2005. I talked about getting medically discharged. Imposter syndrome was rampant. Once again in 2007, I couldn't find work. It sucked. Again, rampant. And then I thought I had it under control. I wasn't attempting suicide anymore, but I was dealing with the thoughts daily. In 2017, I almost tried it a 3rd time. And that's when I came to realize that everything I needed to succeed was already here. And I could do this. I just had to put it into practice. I am very happy to say I have not had a suicidal thought since that day.
Awesome.
I have not been to I guess it's time to end it all. Definitely not since that day.
Good. How can people find you to learn more about this and as well as sign up for it?
The website for the book, and for my information, is findingyourpersonalmission.com. You can also find it on Facebook. You will see the cover of the book there. It has somebody in the Rocky pose, so you'll know when you see it.
Okay.
To reach out to me, either fill out the contact information on the website, send me a message on the page. I would love to hear from you. If any of those 5 statements I gave earlier apply to you, even if only one of them did, that means at some point in your life you faced imposter syndrome. You faced this, I'm not good enough. And I want you to understand that the world is a better place because you are here. You bring something to the table that no one else can bring. Patrick can't bring it, I can't bring it, and that's not putting us down.
No.
That's just literally stating a fact. You bring something to the table that no one can bring. And if you don't believe in yourself enough to bring it, we miss out on that gift that you bring to the table. We need it. We need you to be you.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly believe in that. And that's really sort of the foundation of this podcast is it's sharing the stories, because we, the audience, need to hear these funny stories, these this comic relief, if you will, down here, because once we're gone, the stories go with us, right? And nobody gets the benefit of the smile for that day, or the I had something like that too. It's tragic that so many people take their stories with them, and nobody gets to hear them. I believe it's Les Brown said that the graveyard is the richest place in the world, because
I was literally just thinking that.
Yeah, there are inventions that were never made. There are stories that were never told. There were ideas that never came to life.
Songs never written.
Yeah.
Books never written.
Yeah. And that's the purpose behind this podcast, is to be able to share those stories. But this authentically you, and reclaiming, your positive identity. The world is a better place because you were here, and the world would be worse off if you were to leave too soon.
100%. Yes, sir. One thing, and we've talked about this with Robert quite a bit, it doesn't just affect your private life, it affects your business life. Imagine how much you could get done in your business if you just believed in your ability to do it.
Amen.
I'm a firm believer in something that Zig Ziglar said. Positive thinking will not help you do anything, but it will help you do everything better than negative thinking will.
Right.
Mind blown. And I blew the Air Force mind. That's a real mind. I was Army, so we were trained to follow orders, not to think.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it was encouraged sometimes to think.
We were also trained to get lost on land nav courses, but that's another story.
James, I have had an absolute blast.
Yes, sir.
Having you here on the show and hearing your stories, and I think the general remembering your name after 6, 8, 10 months later, popping a 2-star coin in your hand, I think that's pretty awesome. The
2004, he gave me a 4-star coin.
Shut the front door. Wow, nice.
I still have it somewhere.
Somewhere.
Yeah. Somewhere in the house. Somewhere. Over here, I don't know.
It's probably in a box somewhere. If it's anything like my memorabilia section of the basement. My wife tells me all the time I need to get rid of stuff, and I'm like, no.
You don't get rid of memories.
Yeah, it's stuff. I need stuff. But hey, anything else you want to share before we bid the adieus?
I think I am good. Again, just going back to what I said earlier. If you're watching this and you're thinking, man, I just need that one laugh so my head doesn't go to that dark place today. If you're watching this and that's your thought, please listen to what I'm about to say. We need you. You are vital. You are not just part of a team, you're part of a family. The world is a better place because you are here. Stay. Reach out. We're not going to think you're a failure or you're a fraud because you can't handle it yourself, because trust me, I can't handle it myself. I have people. I am in the position I am in because I've had people come along beside me and say, let me help you. I'm doing the same thing right now. Let us help you.
Amen. Yeah, you can reach out to James personally on Facebook, me personally, Facebook. You know how to get a hold of me if you're watching this. I'm not hard to find. Talk to somebody. Stay with us. It's very important that you do. James, brother, thank you so much for coming on the show. This has been episode 20 of the Knock&Talk show. And again, folks, avboa.net, avboa.net, to get your digital badge if you're a veteran business owner. And James, find James and all those places. We'll have the links down here for you to find him personally, get into the coaching program and learn more about what he's got to offer. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for being with us, and be safe, be well, and we will catch you next time.
The Knock&Talk Show is a certified veteran-hosted podcast. Show your support. Tune in, share, and subscribe.